The Writings of Philosopher Prince Israel Zaar. Title: God, Guns, and War Are Wholly Incompatible. I now read, Unjust wars and the cruelties it brings reminds the rest that war-prone politicians, WPP, misuse, misinterpret, and mislead God. At worst, they make the faithful ashamed or question their faith. Wars are not fought for God or by God, but for politicians and by politicians, against the will of the positive majority. If God is true as told and believed, the God who can do and undo, then why will God need humans to wage a war, or wage a war to destroy God's humanity for God's coming, or for God's sake? Who shows up after destroying everybody, of course? Not God. Use not thy beliefs to punish the rest of humanity. Belief is mental, the consequences or causalities are practical. Humans will pay the price of repugnant belief systems that are constructed in the image of war. Why must the God of Jesus be forced into war? Be thou wise not to confuse God for gun. See not God through the barrel of a gun. War has never produced a sustainable or peaceful, God-loving civilization. With war comes revenge as a matter of vindictiveness, timing, readiness, and preparedness, or in the name of preemptiveness. God, gun, and war are wholly incompatible. If it's truly God, then it mustn't be war. Isn't God imprinted, then imposed in the minds and hearts of humans, in their conscience and awareness? If God is true, then why force or impose God onto others? Won't God be natural to us in our genes code? The authority to strike others at will is a power too great for God to give that only politicians can give themselves. When politicians are above God and above human good conscience laws, HGCL, then society becomes what it had become. Perpetual cycles of violence, conflicts, and wars without lasting peace. A world where peace is spoken of but never planted or nurtured to grow. Still, some are of their righteous beliefs that God loves them more, not by faith or deeds or building a better humanity for all, but that they are God's elect. If God has elected thee, then isn't it for you to prove God's kind of love or God's kind of blessings to you and to humanity? How can thou be of God's blessings and God's calling with a sharpened sword or with loaded weapons ready to hurt? Why should God choose you to kill on His behalf or commit atrocities on her behalf on fellow humans? Why should a God justify a caste system, a racial hierarchy, a superiority system of institutionalized discrimination? Are we using God correctly, or are we replacing God with power? Just as wealth has replaced virtue, as seeking to belong has replaced good conscience, goodwill, and good intentions. If God is true, of which God is, not what others say, what type of a God that is supposed to be worshipped by the entirety of the universe will be picking and choosing winners and losers, be picking those to dominate and those to control, those to be free and those to be subjugated, those to be entitled with privileges and those to suffer and languish, or those to be slaves and those to be masters? Man made God to his convenience and imposed the latter on everybody with the sword or gun, until followers of the true God of Jesus said, enough is enough. Use not the name of our God to wage a war. Jesus is the Prince of Peace, not the Captain of War. Aren't they those who call themselves Christians and see peace as weakness and endless wars as strength? Who can you be that strong by perpetually fighting? Doesn't everybody bow to the will of the strong without a fight? Doesn't a war mean power is contested? That you're not as strong as you think or say you are? Don't let contractions lead thee to war. Invoke not God to fight a war. Wars mustn't be fought. All wars are avoidable, but for self-defense. You cannot not defend yourself. else survival falls apart. This is philosophical, not empirical, the wisdom of Zaarrianism. Philosopher Prince Israel Zaar, February 22nd, 2026. The background video is Trianglerism, Immersive Inventive Art. Hope you enjoy listening. Leave a comment and subscribe.